Merry Christmas, everyone, from Oklahoma Sports Scene. And hello again, I'm Chris Lincoln, along with Coach Gil Santa Cloud himself here.
You
got a ho-ho there, Coach?
Merry Christmas to everyone.
That's right.
We're glad that you're watching us tonight on Christmas night.
And we got a heck of a lineup for you. Of course, while we're thinking of Christmas and all the things we're going to be enjoying through the season here, we're also looking ahead to the college football semifinal playoffs. That's, of course, December the 28th, as OU, number 4, takes on number 1 LSU, followed then by 7 o'clock by number 2 Ohio State against number 3 Clemson. Quite a lineup of 4 power teams.
What an afternoon and evening football. Oklahoma plays at 3, and then the second game is at 7 p.m. And I tell you, Chris, I've looked at it every way we can look at it. I think Oklahoma's got a chance, and I think the best 2 teams are playing 2 and 3 at 7 o'clock.
We have Eric Bailey of the Tulsa World, longtime sports writer there, a sports columnist. He covered every one of the OU football games. Here is his opinion, and he just got back from New York, right?
He got in 1:30, I think, the other morning, and he said that he likes it, but it's a little fast-paced for him.
He covered the Heisman Trophy ceremony there and stuff, so some great insight from Eric Bailey. Then, Coach, it's always this time of year when it's so cold and miserable outside. Start thinking about the nice warm weather and baseball season.
Absolutely, and you go up to Claremore and Wayne McCombs. They've got an outstanding live auction,
right?
Silent auction, and Rick Mundy will be their featured guest. And of course, Rick Mundy, what a great baseball player!
Fantastic, yeah. And we have Bob Carpenter, who's the TV voice of the Washington Nationals. And my gosh, what a season they had! Just so improbable. Bob's got some great stories for us.
I tell you, and of course he's the MC.
That's
up
right.
At the Field of Dreams in
yeah.
Claremore at that. But when you look at where they started out. 19 and 31.
Unbelievable.
They were 19 and 31, and he'll tell us about how they made that run toward the end and how they got to be the world's champions.
And a historic World Series, Coach. It was unbelievable.
Nobody could win at home.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. The road team always won. So, it was one of those classic confrontations of 2 really great teams that had great pitching staffs, and in the end, the not the Senators, the Washington Nationals,
that's right,
won, and that's what they play the games.
That's right. Bob has over 30 years of experience of calling Major League Baseball games. Got some great stories for us. You'll enjoy that. And then, Coach, you're looking forward to it, Coach. You think, well, okay, you got a Christmas break, everybody's off vacation, take it easy. Not Tulsa Public School Athletic Department.
No, we'll be at the Mabee Center about 7:30 on the 26th, and we'll be there till 10:30 that night. And the 55th annual Tournament of Champions, Chris, and we had a tremendous press conference here 3 weeks ago at the DoubleTree, which is one of our host institutions here and one of our partners, and some great teams, great individuals. They're the Tulsa Public Schools. We have 4 teams 2 girls and 2 boys. We have the Booker T girls and the Will Rogers Roper girls. And then we have, of course, the Memorial Chargers boys, the defending 5A champions, and the defending 6A champions, the BTW Hornets. So it's going to be, with the marquee players that we have, I think on the boys' side there's about 6 Division I, and on the girls there's about 4 Division I that have already committed to sign. So.
And the tournament director, Mick Wilson, your assistant, going to join us on the show to talk about
He'll be here,
that.
and he'll be able to tell you exactly when they play and when the best players are going to be on the court.
Well, stay with us. Up next is Eric Bailey of the Tulsa World. He'll talk all things Oklahoma Sooners. Look forward to that college football semifinal playoff against number 1 LSU. That's straight ahead on Oklahoma Sports Scene.
Cheers. Cheers.
All right, y'all, how's everything tasting?
That is awesome.
I come bearing gifts of the liquid variety.
Bricktown Brewery. Come and get it.
Hey Mo, have you seen the MDX? I'm pretty sure it was in the showroom when I left yesterday.
No, sorry, Jen. I haven't seen it.
Are you positive you haven't seen it?
Hey, Mo, I went ahead and pulled the MDX back up on the showroom for it. Oh, hey, Jen.
Haven't seen it, huh?
At Rogers State University, we keep things personal.
It all starts here.
We make sure our graduates get the most out of their education.
RSU has campuses in Claremore, Bartlesville, and Pryor, with on-campus housing and a wide variety of programs to suit your needs.
It all starts here.
Rogers State University.
Each week we talk about the GTR, and we know for a fact that Forrest Cameron and his wife Sharon put out a tremendous paper. Well, I brought all 6 of them today. I'd like for you to see them. The Union Boundary, and here is the Owasso Rambler. And if you live in Bixby, how about the Bixby Breeze or Broken Arrow, the Broken Arrow Express, Jinx, District Gazette, and then of course the Tulsa Midtown. All of those, the GTR. If you haven't had an opportunity to read one, do it, and you'll be proud of it.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene, and now we have Eric Bailey. And Eric just got in from New York and the Heisman. How was that experience?
You know, it's funny covering Oklahoma football. It was my 4th year in a row covering the Heisman ceremony after Baker's 2 years and Kyler last year. So it's always great. It's always great seeing college footballs, the kings of college football, Billy Sims and all the Heisman Trophy winners. It's always just such a fun weekend.
Was that really Billy Sims wearing Billy Sims barbecue store logos on his blazer?
Well, if you remember last year, he had the OU blazer. Right. This year, he had the Billy Sims. So I'm curious if there is a finals next year, what's he going to wear next year?
What was the contingent from OU? Who else was there?
You know, there wasn't many this year. It was just Lincoln Riley and Alex Grinch, mainly the two coordinators basically were there. So, but Alex Grinch it was neat seeing a defensive coordinator there supporting his quarterback.
Was Switcher there? I see Barry.
Coach was there. Yeah, Josie. Everybody was there. Yeah, the usual group, the usual gang. I was thinking coaches, but yeah, the usual gang.
And no surprise, there's no really drama at the Heisman with Joe Burrow. Certainly well deserved.
No, Joe Burrow had such a special year. In fact, I'm fortunate to have a Heisman vote, and I voted for him first, Jalen Hurts second, and Justin Fields third, and that's kind of how it went out to Joe Burrow. Chase was fourth, but Joe Burrow had a special year.
How many Sooner games did you cover this year? You were all of them?
All of them, yep, every year. So we'll go to all the games.
All right, your impression of the 2019 team, what they accomplished, what they overcame, your thoughts?
You know, this is a different team compared to what we saw with Baker and Kyler, with the way that they run the offense. Lincoln Riley really adapted to Jalen Hurts' strengths, running the football, taking care of the football. 12-play drives. We're used to seeing 3, 4, 5-play drives, long, extensive drives. And we've seen that come to fruition, and they're number 2 in the nation in total offense. So, new quarterback, same success. Now, the defense is what impresses me the most. This was a defense that was in the hundreds in total defense last year, ranks 24 going into the bowl season. It's amazing what Alex Grinch has been able to do. And I think going into this bowl game, people are overlooking how good this defense actually is. They haven't allowed a 300-yard passer all season.
Wow. That'll be interesting when they go against the Heisman Trophy winner, won't it?
Yeah. I think so. And I think LSU and a lot of the SEC fans, and college football fans in general, just assume the defense is going to really fade away. And I don't know if that's going to be the case.
You know, I was listening to somebody this morning on the radio, I don't know who it was, and he said, you know, I really, really want to believe that they can win. But I really don't know. And I guess until they get there to play LSU, but I think it's a great matchup for them because I think maybe the 2 best teams are playing one another in the other game.
I agree with you, Gil. I really think that you go in there with a nothing-to-lose attitude. You know, you're the underdog. You're not supposed to be there. And I think that's going to be some motivation that this Oklahoma team can take going into this game. And you're right, Ohio State and Clemson, that's going to be a heck of a 2-3 matchup. I think LSU, with what Oklahoma does, it's really a good matchup for the Sooners. I think if you put a little bit of pressure on LSU, you get some stops, keep Joe Burrow off the field with those long drives.
Absolutely.
You never know what's going to happen.
And OU, though, a double-digit underdog, surprised a lot of people and got the Sooners fired up a bit, too.
I agree with you. And, you know, we look back last year, I think it was a double-digit underdog to Alabama, and we look back at the Sugar Bowl a few years ago when they were double-digit underdog. I think that just really fuel to the fire. I really think that the motivation is going to be there. I think Oklahoma wants to prove they belong there. There are a lot of people that don't think they belong there. I think after last year and in 2017 when they were so close to getting to the championship game, I think these older players like CeeDee Lamb, like Kenneth Murray, guys that have been here, they're ready to make that next step, and they're not going to get any more chances closer to this one.
That's right.
Well, you know, with so many teams going to bowl games, let's get on to that deal. What is the deal? 80 teams playing 40 bowl games.
130 schools altogether play football. 80 of them make a bowl game. That's an amazing number. You know, this is a weird year because some years you have 5-win teams, 5 and 7 teams get in. This year I don't think that happened. But you go 6-6, you're going to go to a bowl game. So the magic number is 6, and hard to believe being average gets you to a bowl game now.
How 6-6? Toledo finished 6-6, qualified for a bowl. There are not enough bowl games. Toledo's out.
They're the 81st team.
How
You're
about
exactly
that?
right.
How'd that make you
well,
feel,
they're
Coach?
just okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, do you remember? I think it was 91, maybe. I can't remember. There was a year where Tulsa went 10-2 and didn't make a bowl game.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it'd be just imagine back in the early 90s when you win 10 games and then go to a bowl game. They would have been in a major bowl now if they go 10-2.
Coach, I've talked about this too, and again, so impressed with Lincoln Riley, such a young coach, just 4th season OU. How he had made such an adjustment to really go with his talent and change his whole philosophy in a lot of ways.
You know, when he arrived in Norman in 2015, he never really had a running game at East Carolina, simply because he didn't have the athletes, didn't have the offensive line where he could sustain run games. Then he learned about Samaje Perine, Joe Mixon. He learned how to use that run game. And I think each year when he becomes a playmaker, he's involving that run game more and more, and he's mixing it up great with the run and shoot passing philosophies of Mike Leach that he's always had, the air raid obscure, not run and shoot, but air raid. But I think that he's really developed into a different kind of play caller now, and 5 years in, who knows what's going to happen over the next 5 years, just seeing where he's grown from year 1 to year 5 now.
Well, as you look at, and the season is not over, but we're moving on, and how does it look for next year?
Next year you're going to have new faces. For the 4th year in a row, you're going to have a new starting quarterback. That's kind of, and you know what? Lincoln Riley's called plays for 5 years at Oklahoma. In those 5 years, his quarterback has finished in the top 4 of Heisman Trophy voting. That's an amazing string. Everyone assumes Spencer Rattler is going to be the guy next year. I really think that right now, looking like he is going to be the guy, and he's a special player from what we've seen in him. He's had a year to be a redshirt this year and learn the system, and he's going to have playmakers at wide receiver, young playmakers that are going to be hungry to get the ball. So they're going to be good next year, and the defense is only going to get better after 1 year under Alex Grinch.
And of course, Wednesday last week was first day, recruiting day and signing day and stuff. And soon expect to have another big group. And they've got another great quarterback in the system too. I understand from Georgia, kid that everybody wanted.
Yeah, Brockie's going to be here. I think he's a couple years down the road.
Right.
But you get the #1 quarterback out of Georgia, out of SEC country, to come to Oklahoma. That tells you what kind of recruiting job Lincoln Riley's doing. Quarterbacks want to play for Lincoln Riley. If you're a 5-star quarterback, you want to play for Lincoln Riley.
Coach, you're an old offensive lineman. And I was so impressed with Bud and Ball, the job he did with the offensive line that lost 4 to the NFL. They built quite a line.
They improved it. I thought they improved every week.
Yeah.
They just got just a little bit better every week. They had a good keynote in the center.
Yeah.
The center was a good one, and but they built around him really well.
Yeah, Creed Humphrey's a special player, and those 4 guys around him. How often do you have 4 NFL draft picks? You have to replace them, and that's what Oklahoma did. And they grew. And you got to remember, Jalen Hurts was quarterback behind an all-new offensive line. So this thing, to see what Jalen has been able to do with a new offensive line from week 1, is pretty incredible. And Bill Bedenbaugh deserves a lot of credit. He's a heck of an offensive line coach.
I don't know how you guys handle Jalen Hurts. It would drive me nuts in the media. You're there after the game, post-game, you're ready to go, you're ready to wrap it up, you got deadlines, you want to get out of there. And Jalen Hurts leaves the field and goes and works out, right?
Yeah, and that's what we were wondering if that's what he did after the Heisman Trophy ceremony. He flew home, went to work out at 4 in the morning.
I know it.
But Jalen, I mean, he's a different kind of. We're so used to Baker Mayfield, how charismatic Baker was, and Kyler was. Kyler spoke a lot. Jalen is just a different personality. But I will say this: when we went to New York, there wasn't a lot of attention. A lot of the attention was on Joe Burrow.
Sure.
The Ohio State 2 players had a lot of their Ohio media. So it was me and Ryan Aber, Dean Blevins, and Dylan Buckingham from Oklahoma City. Really, just 4 people were around Jalen, and he was probably the best we've seen in an interview setting all year. In fact, our final interview with Jalen was after the ceremony. He was in his hotel room packing, and they allowed us to go in there and interview him in his hotel room. And he was great, and he thanked us for covering him. So we had a great weekend, Heisman weekend in New York with Jalen.
Okay, what are your thoughts? What's your prediction on the college football playoff semifinals?
I should have known that question was coming, and I'm not prepared. Right. I will say this. I think if Oklahoma can take care of the football, no turnovers, no silly penalties, which has hurt them this year, I think they're going to give themselves a chance. Now, the defense is going to have to play really well against a quarterback that's a Heisman Trophy winner and an offense that's playing with a lot of confidence. I think if Oklahoma can win the turnover battle, get stops on third down, they're going to have a chance to win this game. But I don't want to give you a score, but I think they're going to give themselves a chance.
Coach, what do you think?
Well, I think Oklahoma's got a chance to win the game, but no turnovers and no penalties. Those are the keys. You cannot give them field position because they're going to be able to throw the football and score very quickly. And realistically, as we said earlier, I think the 2-3 game is the national championship.
And I know they have the Heisman Trophy winner, but I'm telling you, Jalen Hurts is the guy that has the experience in national championship games. I think it'll make a difference. Exactly. Before we let you leave, we have something for you, Eric, but also we want to know what's your favorite Christmas memory this Christmas night when our show airs.
Think about little toys I got when I was a kid. Yeah. I think of the Evel Knievel motorcycle where you wound them up and let them go. That was one of my favorite things ever, and I'd love if I could still have one of those. I know they're just probably worth millions right now, but I would love to have that.
Well, we don't have one of those, but we do have a Bricktown card.
Santa Cloud.
There you go.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Always great to have you with us, Eric. Thank you, buddy. Enjoy your time down in Atlanta. And see if you can bring back a championship, buddy.
Guys. Merry Christmas.
Okay.
Merry Christmas to you.
Right back tomorrow on Oklahoma Sports Scene. They're here. They're new. They're Bricktown's Brick Twisted Foods. And listen to this lineup of some exciting new type foods at Bricktown Brewery restaurants. How about this? Pork green chili tachos. That's right, tachos. Homemade tater tots. Top of pulled pork, green chili, cheese, bacon, cilantro, and top with a fried egg. Ooh, yeah. Hot fig and goat cheese dip as well. Also have their fried chickpea salad, protein salad bowl, steak and cheddar sandwich. All at Bricktown Brewery. Get and try the twisted food.
Robertson Tire has been your local tire expert since 1962. Now at RobertsonTire.com, it's easier than ever to get a customized quote. And with our price match guarantee, you can be sure that you're getting the best price. For more information, visit RobertsonTire.com.
Winston, tie or bow tie? Good choice.
Sammy, they're here.
Good morning, welcome to Don.
Come on, you guys. What did you think they were here for?
Well?
It's the Honda Summer Spectacular Sales Event going on now at Don Carlton Honda.
Welcome back on Oklahoma Sports Scene Christmas Show, and boy, what a gift we have here. My old friend Bob Carpenter, BC, the former sports director at KTO-TV, who followed me when they kicked me out of there. And BC took over that, then on to, of course, great fame now as the TV voice of the world champion Washington Nationals. BC, I've been trying to get you on this show since the World Series, and finally got you back here in Tulsa.
Well, I had to work 5 extra weeks. So I got home and the honeydew list.
I bet Debbie was ready for you.
Well, the honeydew list had the same number of items on it as it does when I get home on time. So glad I could finally get down here, and so great to see you and Gil again.
What an incredible season. I mean, in late May, nobody thought the Nationals were going to go anywhere. What an incredible run, and then that World Series just epic, historic.
We had just been swept 4 in a row at New York by the Mets, a team in our own division. Nothing was going right. We were 19-31. It was the second worst record in baseball, I think, at that time, to the Marlins, who were just basically playing a bunch of AAA and a few kids and a few big leaguers sprinkled in here and there with them. Nothing was going right, but people forget the Nats weren't healthy. We had some injuries. Anthony Rendon had been hit by a pitch on the elbow. He was out for about a week and a half. The one that was really the crippling injury was our leadoff guy, Trey Turner, who's a very good young shortstop with power. Might be the fastest guy from home to first I've ever seen on a baseball field. And he got hit he was trying to bunt, got hit by a pitch on the finger, broke his finger, and he was out for over 2 months. So, when you have injuries like that, you're going to get slow out of the gates. And I guess the lesson to be learned here is if you're going to have injuries, hope they happen early so that you still have enough time in the season. So the Nats, Chris, were 19-31. That's 50 games in to a 162-game season. So I'm doing the math. I remember this, and I'm thinking, there's no way. We had 112 games left, And to get to 90 wins, which usually puts you in postseason play, the Nationals had to win 71 of those 112 games. Well, guess what they did? They won 74 of those 112 games and ended up with like 94 wins. Survived the wild card game where our young hitter Juan Soto got a big hit. Beat the Dodgers. Once we beat them, we figured, hey, we can beat anybody. Beat the Cardinals 2 in a row in St. Louis to start the League Championship Series. Swept them and then went to the crazy World Series. I did not see this coming. And anybody who says they did, they're not telling the truth because, you know, first of all, you have to know what kind of game baseball is. It's a long season. We say it's a marathon, not a sprint. 2019 was a perfect example of that.
Can you imagine, though, the way the World Series turned out with nobody winning a home game?
Coach, if you were getting ready for a season and somebody told you you're going to lose all your home games and win all your road games, that may not even be enough to win the district for you in football. You know, and that's why baseball is a different animal. You play every day. You don't have a week to prepare for the next game or 5 or 6 days, whatever it is. And so you just get out there and you play every day and you never give up until that last out is made. And, you know, I grew up watching the game in St. Louis. My first big league manager with the Cardinals in 1984 when I was a broadcaster was Whitey Herzog. Learned a lot from him, from Tony La Russa, Joe Torre for a short time. And you just kind of develop a sense over the years. I just wrapped up my 36th year of Major League Baseball. But you develop a sense that I know we're down 7 runs in the 9th inning, but there's still a chance. And our team one night against the Mets scored 7 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning at home to win a game by a run on a walk-off homer by Kurt Suzuki. So, you know, I know every sport is unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. But when you take the size of that entire baseball field and then the size of that ball, which is a lot smaller than a football or a basketball, and you think about the millions of little places on every pitch where that ball could end up on that field, the unpredictability is unbelievable, and we saw that play out this year.
One of the great stars, of course, that incredible pitching performance by Steven Strasburg, won Game 2, Game 6, ERA 2.51 in the World Series, and the World Series MVP, and the richest pitcher in baseball for
about a day
until the Yankees stepped in and gave Garrett Cole $324 million over 9 years. Strasburg has to suffer with $245 million for 7 years.
Well, Steven had 4 years left on a contract extension. He signed with us 3 years ago. It was 7 years, $175 million. So he still had 4 years and $100 million left when they tore up that contract because he had an opt-out. He opted out of that contract knowing his value would never be higher and that he could make a lot of money. Not that $100 million is not a lot of money, you know, to Chris Lincoln. But, you know, so Strasburg gets a 7-year deal, $245 million. So now you're talking about a guy that's gone from, you know, $25 million a year to $35 million a year. Now, some of that money's deferred, like $80 million of it. But what that means is 7 years from now, after being paid probably, I don't know, 26, 27, 28 million a year, he's still got 80 million coming from the Nationals after he retires. And, you know, whatever way they've agreed to spread that out. Similar to what the Nats did 5 years ago with Max Scherzer. He got a 7-year deal for $210 million. Half of that's deferred. So what that means is instead of, you know, Max making $20 million for 7 years or whatever it was, he's making, you know, 10 or 15 or 30 million for 7 years. He's going to make 15 million for 14 years. That's a whole lot more than the major league pension. So these guys are going to be well taken care of, and their great grandchildren should be taken care of as well.
Get something?
Well, and let's talk about that, Bob. Is that going to ultimately, in all of professional sports, is that going to run professional sports? These salaries are so large.
It's a great question, Coach, and none of us know the answer. You know, I think the great players will always get the big money. The question is, how far is this going to go? We just lost Anthony Rendon, our all-star third baseman, to the Angels on a 7-year deal for well over $200 million. The Nationals kind of decided they couldn't have both of those guys re-signed. That is a half of a, if they would have signed Rendon for 2 players, that's a $500 million. 2 players. So I think, Gil, and like I said, it's a great question. I think every team will have one or two of the great players that they can afford, and then they'll have some middle-of-the-road guys. Then they'll have a whole bunch of young guys that aren't making that much. We've got Juan Soto, we've got Victor Robles, we've got Trey Turner. Those guys are making decent money for young players, but they're still under team control. They haven't hit free agency. They will after they've been with us for 6 years, and that's when the payday comes. So at least in baseball, not like football and basketball, you kind of have to be around for a while before you hit that big payday. Because these kids coming out of college in basketball and football are getting these unbelievable contracts. Right. But in baseball, you might get a nice signing bonus up front. There's still a cap on how much that can be, but at least you have to be around for 6 years before you get the payday, and that only happens in baseball.
Well, in the cold of winter, it's always good to think about the warm summer baseball, and of course, the actually training camp, spring training starts the first week of February, and they've announced that all 30, this is amazing, Major League teams open on March 26th. Is that a good idea, Bob?
My birthday's March 4th. I never ever dreamed years ago that opening day would be in the same month as my birthday. But it has been now for the last several years. Gosh. So, the first spring training game is February 22nd. And I know my wife's not happy about it.
Yes.
And I know players aren't. Yeah. I don't have to go down there until our first game, maybe a day or two ahead of time to see the guys and talk to guys and then do some spring training games. But they're down there a couple of weeks ahead of time. Baseball wives don't have their husbands home for Valentine's Day anymore because they are long gone by then.
That's right,
So, some of those guys bring home that paycheck and that kind of smooths over that situation. But, it's getting crazier. In a deal that the players agreed to a couple of years ago as part of the collective bargaining agreement, they wanted more days off during the regular season. Right. Well, you can't have the last day of the World Series on November 15th. The last day of the World Series this year, Game 7 in Houston, because I got home on Halloween, was the night before on October 30th. Yeah. So you have to take the games off during the regular season, which means the games start earlier. They don't go later, and that's why we're starting all these games so early.
Well, we've got a Christmas gift for you and Deborah. We're taking some time here at Oklahoma Sports Scene, and we have to know, what's your best Christmas memory?
Well, it's funny that you asked me this, because I think it was one of the guys with the Tulsa World did a column recently. It might have been Barry Lewis, and they were asking guys what their favorite Christmas memory was. My dad, who was a welder, had kind of an engineering mind. He worked on the river in St. Louis as a welder on towboats and barges for 40 years. Wow. He built a train board because as a kid I fell in love with trains. I still have some at home. They're in storage, but they're going to come out someday. But he built a train board, and much to my mom's chagrin, he put a big hole in the middle of it for the Christmas tree trunk to fit down in the middle of. So all the presents were under the train board, which was the featured thing, and that's my favorite Christmas memory.
I love it.
Well, come to Bricktown on our...
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate that.
Best of Deborah. Take good care of her now.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Coach, great to see you again.
One of your good friends is starting next with us, Wayne McCombs, going to talk about that fabulous Claremore Field of Peace baseball dinner straight ahead.
It's back, January 13th to the 18th, all under the giant roof of the River Spirit Expo Center. The 34th running of the Lucas Oil Chili Nationals, presented by General Tire. Monday and Tuesday reserved seats are on sale now by calling 918-838-3777 or get yours at the event. The world's best drivers in an all-out mudslinging war for the Golden Driller. Can't make it for the whole week? Get your General Edition pit pass at the event and find seating all along the back straightway. For more information, prices, and details, log on to chilibowl.com.
At Bricktown Brewery, we're known for our famous original craft beers like Single String Stout and Bluesberry Ale. Did you know we also brew our own root beer at our Oklahoma City brewhouse? It's called Attaboy Root Beer, and you'll love it no matter what your age. Just ask for a Bricktown Kids menu with all the favorites for our guests 12 and under. Bricktown Brewery opens every day at 11 a.m.
I bring Tulsa's voice to Oklahoma City and Washington. I build relationships with elected officials and community stakeholders to develop policies that grow the Tulsa region. I loved my time at Rogers State University. The personal relationships I developed with professors really helped develop a skill set that would help me serve the Tulsa region that I care about. It all started for me at Rogers State University.
On our Christmas edition of Oklahoma Sports Scene, the baseball theme continues. We welcome in Wayne McCombs, longtime baseball historian here in Tulsa, and the guy who's put together that incredible Field of Dreams baseball dinner in Claremore coming up pretty soon, again, January the 27th. Wayne, it's always something to look forward to. It kind of makes you feel warm in the cold winter.
Thank you. Well, they used to call it in the old days the Hot Stove League.
That's
so
right.
We're going to do that, a Hot Furnace League, I guess.
Give us some of the highlights coming up.
Well, this is our 15th anniversary of the Field of Dreams in Claremore. This year our guest is Rick Mundy, who is currently the radio announcer for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And of course he had a 19-year career in the major leagues. He was the first at being first. He was the first player drafted in the first major league draft back in 1965.
A great college player.
He did. He was the college player of the year. He took Arizona State to the championship under head coach Bobby Winkles, who is a former Tulsa Oiler, baseball player.
Wow.
And so he had played for Kansas City and Oakland Athletics, then was traded to the Cubs. And in 1976, one of his best moments is when a couple of individuals decided they were going to burn the flag during a game in the outfield, okay? And so he saw this, realized that was wrong, and ran over and took the flag as the guys were just getting ready to light the flag, and got a standing ovation in Dodger Stadium. And, I guess, Abner Doubleday wrote it correctly. He came up to bat in the next inning for the Cubs, got a standing ovation. Then the Dodgers traded for him the next year, and he played on a couple of World Series teams with the Los Angeles Dodgers.
That's a famous YouTube clip, though, right?
Yes, it is. We'll see here while we're doing this show here. But anyway, just really a remarkable thing that he did that. And he commented later, he said, I've been to too many hospitals where wounded soldiers were just, taking greetings and trying to cheer them up. For me to see something like that.
That's great.
Yeah. What other celebrities will be there?
Yeah.
Well, the guy we just had in here, Bob Carpenter, is going to be our MC from the world champion Washington Nationals. Bob does a great job.
He was telling us his 36th year calling baseball.
36 years,
yeah.
He's, great announcer, and of course did all the things here until people forget how.
That's right. Channel 8
followed you at Channel 8 as the news director, sports director, and then you guys teamed up to do the Roughneck Soccer.
Roughnecks, a lot of stuff together. Yeah.
That was kind of a wild event back in those days.
It was indeed. Yeah.
And then OU football and all the things. And anyway, great background with Bob.
There's a great legacy of this baseball Field of Dreams banquet. Talk about some of the past players you've had there. And also one of the great features is the memorabilia and the silent auction and the live auction we have too.
I'll put our baseball memorabilia up against any other banquet in the state of what we have. We really work at trying to get some great things for it. This year already we've got a Mickey Mantle ball, Hank Aaron ball. We have a bat signed by Stan Musial. So we had a lot of great things for the memorabilia.
We contributed some of ours too. I think you got a Bob Gibson baseball head signed and stuff. We passed on to you guys.
You have been, I don't know if it's Becky asking you to clean out
that's kind of it,
the garage, but we're grateful for Becky.
Happy to do it, absolutely.
And I did not talk her into this. You donated a Joe Torre ball, Bob Gibson. We have a terrific University of Tulsa basketball coaching legend ball with Tubby Smith, Nolan and Bill Self on it. Yep. Great basketball for that. I think there's a basketball from
the Suns signed.
Eddie Sutton,
Eddie, Steve, and Scott all signed it.
Yes, all signed it. Great basketball. So it's a terrific.
Eddie, Steve, and Sean signed it.
Great things.
Good to hear.
Some of the guys we've had in the past. We've had Bucky Dent, Chris Chambliss. We've had Dale Murphy. We've had Jim Sundberg. We've had a lot of great players that come by. Frank White has been there, and maybe of course because he's close to home is Ralph Terry, who was from Chelsea, and he brought the house down.
Yeah, he's amazing.
When he first came to the event, we played a clip of that last inning of the 1962 World Series, where he shut out the Giants. Like, can you imagine a picture going the entire way in a World Series game with a 1-0 lead in the 9th inning, and Willie Mays is dancing off second base. I mean, what pressure. He shut out the Giants, and we played that clip. And after it was over, we said, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ralph Terry. The place erupted like the game was over last week.
Wow.
It was really a great emotional thing, and Ralph has some hilarious stories to tell about those Yankee games, and you've heard many of those, and they're terrific.
You can imagine the Yankees. There would be some hilarious stories.
Oh, my gosh.
With that crew, with Whitey Ford and Yogi Berra and Billy
my
Martin
gosh.
and Mickey Mantle. I mean, goodness gracious.
Casey Stengel stories.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah,
all those things, and Yogi, and like Yogi said, a lot of those things I said I didn't say.
Right.
He's got so many fun things. But he said, when Yogi got serious behind the plate, you did exactly what he said, and it worked out okay.
I love that. Give us some ticket information now and where the event will be held.
Our ticket sales are going great, but we still have a few remaining, and you can call the
There's tables and individuals as well, right? So.
That's right. The tables of 8 are $750. Tables for 4 are $375, and single tickets are $90. That includes a great meal, and we have all the memorabilia, and it's a lot of great fun. You can call the Neely Insurance Agency in Claremore to secure those tickets.
And our friends in the Hammett House still doing our dinners?
They have done this in the past. This year, we've kind of done a little different. The Doe's Eat place.
Well, that's a great place too.
That's in downtown Claremore. Is going to be supplying the food, and it's going to be a great menu.
January the 27th, you'll want to be there. It is the 15th annual Claremore Field of Dreams baseball banquet. It is absolutely incredible. Have a great time. Bring some extra money. The big question is, well, our good friend Al Jerkins, a retired Channel 2 sports director, now living in someplace in Nashville, Tennessee. Will he be back to support the auction? Nobody buys more of those things than Big Al.
Well, we want him to come back. I mean, every time we have some sort of Yankee memorabilia, we bring it over and set it on Al's table just to look at, so to get his mouth set up. I have talked to him. He says, "Boy, Wayne, I don't know, but
we'll get him here.
We'll get him here."
We have a gift for you too from Santa Cloud here.
We need to send that limousine after him and bring him over.
Exactly.
Go to Bricktown on us, Wayne.
Great place. I've used these before.
And finish up now. What's your favorite Christmas memory, Wayne?
Gosh, this goes back a long time. You remember the television show Rin Tin Tin?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I wanted to be the boy Rusty. Okay, you got to wear a uniform all day, play outside, never take a bath, and play with a dog all day long. That's what I think. I was 6, and my parents bought me the Fort Apache complete set.
Oh my goodness!
And I had that for years before I finally destroyed it. That was one of my great Christmas memories.
Wayne, thanks so much for joining us.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much.
Again, the Baseball Claremore Field of Dreams Baseball Banquet, again, January the 27th. We'll be right back, and Mick Wilson and his friends are going to talk about Tournament of Champions coming up this weekend here in Tulsa.
Hey, Mo, have you seen the MDX? I'm pretty sure it was in the showroom when I left yesterday.
No, sorry, Jen. I haven't seen it.
Are you positive you haven't seen it?
Hey, Mo, I went ahead and pulled the MDX back up on the showroom for it. Oh, hey, Jen.
Haven't seen it, huh?
Cheers.
All right, y'all, how's everything tasting?
That is awesome.
I come bearing gifts of the liquid variety.
Bricktown Brewery. Come and get it.
Robertson Tire has been your local tire expert since 1962. Now at RobertsonTire.com, it's easier than ever to get a customized quote. And with our price match guarantee, you can be sure that you're getting the best price. For more information, visit RobertsonTire.com.
We have a special guest today. Welcome back to Sportscene. Mick Wilson, who is the Deputy Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools, but he's the Tournament Director for the 55th Annual Tournament of Champions. Mick, welcome to the show.
I appreciate it. We're getting ready to start some interesting and fun basketball first thing tomorrow morning with the beginning of the Tournament of Champions.
55th Annual Tournament of Champions brings the best of the whole state of Oklahoma. Give us an idea of what we're looking for, and it gets underway tomorrow morning, right?
It does. It kicks off bright and early at 9 o'clock in the morning, and for one day we're going to, or for 3 days, we're going to determine an overall state champion. It'll be fun, unofficially, of course, but each team will have good chances of either repeating a state championship in their particular class, or will be the top-ranked team in their particular class for this season. So we're getting ready to get underway. It'll be a great day of basketball, a great 3 days of basketball, but tomorrow it'll be really exciting. Starting off with the girls, first thing in the morning, we've got Adair girls, who are arguably right now, maybe Chris will have stake to that, be able to say that they're best team in the state. They're really, really good. They play Rogers at 9 a.m., followed by the second girls game at noon with Coweta and Muldrow. And, of course, the Muldrow girls from last year are the defending Tournament of champions last year. So we'll look forward to seeing them play. And they've got the magnificent player that signed with OSU and Taylon Collins. So that'll make for an interesting matchup right off the bat. That evening afternoon session, will start with Moore and Oologah playing at 4 o'clock, and the Wadsworth girl at Oologah is phenomenal. It'd be interesting and exciting to see her play, followed by the Booker T. Washington girls against Kellyville at the late game of the second session.
I tell you what, when you look at that girls' bracket, and we say this every year, and we say the same thing about the boys' bracket, this is the best it's ever been. But with the talent of the individual players, much less the teams that are there, the Rogers Adair game, for instance, at 9 o'clock in the morning, Rogers is 2 points away from going to the semifinals in 5A. You got the state defending champion in Adair, and they're playing the first round. Now,
that's right, Gil. It's so fun to match these teams up, and it's fun to watch the teams get excited to play, because I think they really. Each team is a legitimate chance to win the state championship in their class. And so you see the smaller classes get excited because they get to play some teams that they don't normally see. And they get to compete against the best of the large class. And so you see these teams really ratchet it up a notch or two, similar to what we saw Sealing 3 years ago knock off East Central in the first round. Had a Class A team beat a 5A girls basketball power.
So it's like a Hoosiers.
It is a lot like Hoosiers.
Great,
and again, it's exciting to see these teams show up and compete, because not only do we have good coaches and good teams, but we have the marquee players, so it makes for a really good brand of basketball for that day.
Of course, the venue, the Mabee Center, is, that's where the 5 and 6A's played for the last 6-7 years. Sure. And so teams want to be here to get accustomed to the baskets, I say, out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. On the boys' side, we're really excited. We'll start off bright and early at 10:30 with Dell City, who was the state runner-up in 5A last year, to Memorial. And in fact, we talked off the air how they had Memorial down predominantly, throughout the game, and Memorial had to come back and really fight back into it to win the state championship there. And they'll play Garber, who is coming off a Class A state runner-up. Then at 1:30, we'll have Booker T. Washington and Duke. And of course, Booker T. Washington, we know that they're defending 6A champs. They're number one. They've got the highly touted players. But Duke brings a team together that went all the way to the state finals last year and lost in the state championship game, undefeated all year and losing the finals. We'll come back in the afternoon session. We'll have Heritage Hall with Trey Alexander against Millwood. Those teams faced off about 3 weeks ago, and I believe Heritage Hall won a close one there. I think it was by 4. And then the evening game will be 5A defending state champs Tulsa Memorial against Okemah, who's the 2A defending state champs. Both teams ranked number 1 in their classes for a great evening session game as a nightcap.
And the games continue Friday, and then the championships Saturday, right?
Saturday, we will play the championship games, and all the consolation side of the bracket will be finished up as well. But again, it'll be a fun day of basketball. Come out to the Mabee Center after Christmas. You've eaten a lot of snacks. Sit down and watch a lot of basketball. The parking's easy. Walk right in and take in all the basketball you want for 3 days.
Besides the championships on Saturday, you got something brand new. After 55 years of basketball, you've added something new to this.
We're gonna start the e-sport. The Tournament of Champions, e-sport champion, will be crowned at 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. We got a great venue at the Mabee Center for e-sport. We've been through it twice now. They're seating for 500 to watch the e-sport competitors. There are 3 different rooms in this area where they're going to be, so we'll have multiple games going on. Large screen in the middle where the people who are actually on the stage, you can watch and see who's winning that particular thing. It's going to be really good. I think it's a $10 admission fee to get in to the basket. Everybody pays that. And if you don't have a TPS student ID, there's a $5 entry fee. If you have one, then your entry fee's waived.
Any kid gamer can play, right?
Any kid. We've got high school and middle school age, and even lower if they want to come to play. We won't turn anybody down. And we're
what are they playing?
They're playing Smash Brothers.
One of our favorites, right?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
I don't either. I know Fortnite, but let me tell you, Parker, my son, and I drove by the other day at GameStop, and they were having a Smash Brothers tournament, and I will tell you, the place was filled up.
Incredible.
So I don't know anything about Smash Brothers, but I know they like to play it.
Give us some ticket information now.
Ticket information: you can actually buy tickets until tonight at midnight on the Mabee Center website for nearly half price. Those are discounted all session passes. After that, if you decide to come out tomorrow or the next 2 or 3 days, the tickets will be $10 per session, which gets you through 4 games each session. We do clear the Mabee Center out after the first session at 3 p.m., kind of tidy up, regroup, and start back at 4 with the second session games. And again, that'd be another $10 if you want to come out and watch some more basketball.
And before I let you go quickly, your favorite Christmas memory?
Well, my favorite Christmas memory, I was thinking about that off the air, but I tell you, Chris, probably it's not my childhood, it's probably my first Christmas with my children.
Oh,
it
nice,
was,
yeah.
Jeannie and I had tried for a long time to have children, and we finally was able to pull that off, and it was just a real blessing because you get to be a late life dad like myself and spend Christmas with those newborns, and it was quite an experience. And that would be Christmas of 2006.
Merry Christmas. The Wilson family and ho-ho.
And have twins.
Santa Claus.
Yes.
Santa Claus has a good
Santa Cloud.
There you go.
I won't let him tell you the story about when he was Santa Cloud and I was the Grinch, but you need to ask him sometime.
We don't want to tell that story.
Congratulations again for a great job of the tournament. Look forward to Tournament Champions.
Thank you, guys.
Maybe Center this week. Get out there and support them. And again, Merry Christmas to the Wilson family. Right back with the Remington Park Report.
Think you need to leave the city to have fun at a casino? Well, think faster. Because wherever you are in OKC, you can get to Remington Park fast. So you'll be here faster and winning faster on all the latest and greatest games. Don't miss our season finale from Wednesday, December 11th through Sunday, December 15th with our Kentucky Derby qualifier, the $400,000 Springboard Mile. Get your heart racing fast in the heart of the city at Remington Park, the fastest action in town.
Cheers. All right, y'all, how's everything tasting?
That is awesome.
I come bearing gifts of the liquid variety.
Bricktown Brewery. Come and get it.
Robertson Tire has been your local tire expert since 1962. Now at RobertsonTire.com, it's easier than ever to get a customized quote. And with our price match guarantee, you can be sure that you're getting the best price. For more information, visit RobertsonTire.com.
At Rogers State University, we keep things personal.
It all starts here.
We make sure our graduates get the most out of their education.
RSU has campuses in Claremore, Bartlesville, and Pryor, with on-campus housing and a wide variety of programs to suit your needs.
It all starts here.
Rogers State University.
Well, our good friend Richard Linihan from Oklahoma City to join us on our show here as we wrap things up for the year at Remington Park. The Thoroughbred Meet 2019 opened back on August 23rd, came to a close December 15th, running that $400,000 Springboard Mile we featured in the show last week for you. Richard, 67-day meet, 32 stakes races, more than $3.7 million. And a heck of a season for you.
It was a great season at Remington Park, and David Cabrera won his second riding title in a row. Steve Asmussen won his 15th training title. And so he's just become unbeatable over there. Winning owner was a guy, he's part of End Zone Athletics, Carl Broberg, trainer, owner of horses. He said 30 years ago he lived in Tulsa, and he would take the bus from Tulsa to Oklahoma City to go to Remington Park and bet on the races. And now he's for the first time, he's the leading owner at Remington Park.
Fantastic. You mentioned Steve Asmussen also became the leading owner all-time, leading trainer all-time at Remington Park, being the great Donnie Von Hemel.
Donnie had 1,049 wins at the end of this meet, and Steve got 4 wins on the last day. He was 2 behind Donnie and got 4 wins, so he now sits at 1,051.
And as far as the money figures go, what kind of meet was it for you in terms of handle and the money bet and stuff? I know you had a record day for the Springboard Mile.
I believe that Dale Day is coming out with a press release that shows all those figures, but they haven't been wrapped up yet, so we'll have to find that out later.
Well, I know the Springboard Mile was a record day, right?
Right, it was $3.6 million in handle. It broke the previous record of Oklahoma Derby Day this year when we did $3 million in handle, so there were 300,000 more on closing day.
And as the barn area closes, a lot of people, of course, around here wonder, where do the horses go now?
Some go to Oaklawn over in Arkansas. Some go to Texas for Sam Houston's meet. So and some just go rest, you know,
Yeah, sure.
to get ready for Will Rogers Downs at Claremore.
Now, the 2020 season, looking ahead, let's talk about what the plans are at Remington Park for the new year.
Well, we got the quarter horse meet opening up in March. Of course, we always have the $1 million race during the quarter horse meet, the Heritage Place Futurity. That's for 2-year-old quarter horses that possibly go on and do well in the All-American Futurities, which is like the Kentucky Derby of the quarter horse set.
And of course, Remington Park is known for maybe having the outstanding quarter horse meet in the nation.
That's correct. Los Al will probably argue with you, and Ruidoso, but I still think we have the best horses there, and I'll always bet them when they go elsewhere.
As you look back, what were some of the highlights for you of this past meeting, 2019?
This past meeting, well, you know, Welder is a horse that he's just one in a generation. You know, he's like the silver icons of the
How old is he
Equitrek.
now?
Welder, he's 6 years old. He'll be 7 in January.
Yeah.
But he ran his winning streak at Remington Park to 9 in a row. There's only one other horse in 31 years of history that had more wins in a row at Remington Park, and that was Slideshow that Wade White used to train. And so Wade White and Terry Luniak, the only 2 trainers in track history to have a horse win 9 races in a row or more, thoroughbreds.
Well, it's incredible memories there, and I think also the great work that, as always, our friend Steve Asmussen does dominating there, and a lot of good jockeys racing also at Remington Park now.
Yeah, we actually added one this year that a lot of people had known in the past that had never ridden there before, and that was Stuart Elliott.
Kentucky Derby winner, sure.
He sure did. He won on Smarty Jones.
I was
and
there, that's right.
Got to interview him over on the backside this year, and just a great guy, humble. And we brought out a stack of Smarty Jones posters about that thick, and he signed them all for everybody, and he's just a great guy.
Gil, I'm sure you'd be happy to know that a lot of this money Remington Park creates and stuff is helping to go to the schools too, right?
That's right. Education funds, like $270 million or something like that now.
Wow.
Well, we need it, I guarantee you.
Yeah. And, the one other thing about Stuart Elliott is he rode a horse to the winner's circle this year that was a grandson of Smarty Jones.
Oh, that's perfect.
How about that?
That's fantastic. Before I let you go, this is a show airing on a Christmas night here, so we ought to ask you what you kind of think back a while, and what is your favorite Christmas memory?
Oh my, I'm going to give away my age now. When I was a little kid, I was just starting to get into music, rock and roll and all that stuff. And I wanted that Beatles White Album so bad. But do you know how much an album cost back then? I mean, a single album, it seemed like a fortune. And a double album was just even more. And when I woke up Christmas morning, I saw it wrapped under the tree. And my mom, who made like $500 a month back then with 4 kids and no father, she bought us all a Christmas album. And I got my Beatles White Album.
Great memory. Thank you. Thanks for making the trip over to Oklahoma City, Richard. Appreciate it.
Good to be here.
Merry Christmas to you and all the folks at Remington Park. Thank you. Be good, great support too. Look forward to getting our Remington reports back when the quarter horse meet opens this spring there at Remington Park. And Gil, I'll be back. We've got some Christmas memories of our own to share with us. Stay with us on Oklahoma Sports Scene.
Think you need to leave the city to have fun at a casino? Well, think faster. Because wherever you are in OKC, you can get to Remington Park fast. So you'll be here faster and winning faster on all the latest and greatest games. Don't miss our season finale from Wednesday, December 11th through Sunday, December 15th with our Kentucky Derby qualifier, the $400,000 Springboard Mile. Get your heart racing fast in the heart of the city at Remington Park, the fastest action in town.
Winston, tie or bow tie? Good choice.
Sammy, they're here.
Good morning, welcome to the...
Come on, you guys. What did you think they were here for?
Well?
It's the Honda Summer Spectacular Sales Event going on now at Don Carlton Honda.
February 13th to the 18th, all under the giant roof of the River Spirit Expo Center. The 34th running of the Lucas Oil Chillable Nationals, presented by General Tire. Monday and Tuesday reserved seats are on sale now by calling 918-838-3777 or get yours at the event. The world's best drivers in an all-out mudslinging war for the Golden Driller. Can't make it for the whole week? Get your General Edition pit pass at the event. Find seating all along the back straightaway. For more information, prices, and details, log on to chilibowl.com.
Well, on this Christmas night 2019, usually Gil and I in these shows will be parting shots and some witty or some sometimes critical comments. We thought in the spirit of Christmas, though, and hope you had the best Christmas ever and created some great Christmas memories. Thought it was time for maybe you and I to talk about maybe our favorite Christmas memory.
Well, I have two.
Okay, go ahead, Coach.
That are very memorable.
Yes.
I was a catcher almost my whole career till I moved to Oklahoma. And I can remember when I was 12 years old, my mom and dad bought me a full catching gear. I mean, the whole thing, just like Yogi Berra. Yeah. I looked just like Yogi Berra. And I thought that was a fantastic thing. And one other memory that I will probably never forget, and I'm reminded a few times a year about, it was Christmas morning, and I was the director of athletics at Northeastern State University. And our defensive coordinator called me and said, hey, I just found this junior college guy, and if we can send him a letter of intent, he's really a player. I'm getting dressed, and Vicki says, where are you going?
On Christmas morning.
It was 6 o'clock Christmas morning. I said, well, I need to run by the office for a moment to send a letter of intent. So I hear about that periodically.
I guess one of my favorite Christmas memories is my mom and dad, after I whined and moaned and begged and pleaded, finally got me, I thought I was the only one that had it, the Aurora Electric football game. Remember that thing? Yeah. Those guys buzzing around the table and stuff, and a little cotton ball you kick through the, that was my favorites. And I had a great Christmas memory with my son Todd. He wanted this fantastic castle. So I had bought the castle for him, hid it in the garage, got him to bed, bought it out on Christmas Eve, opened it all up, laid it out, picked up the directions. They're all in German. Couldn't believe it. Anyway, we sort of put it together. It sort of looked like a castle. But I hope you have some great memories too, and a great Christmas, the best Christmas you ever had. Coach, we can look ahead to, again, you're going to be busy starting tomorrow morning, right? The Tournament of Champions starts.
I would be remiss if I didn't say one other Christmas memory. When I was at Union, our house burned to the ground.
Oh, that's right. God, I remember that story.
On Christmas, we were 5 days away from Christmas. And all the presents, everything were gone.
Oh, my gosh.
And the people at Union, everybody took a room and gave us a housewarming when we moved back in. That's a tremendous memory of some great people.
Well, enjoy your Christmas. I hope you did. But he's back to work tomorrow because, again, December 26th starts the 3-day run of the 55th Tournament of Champions. Go to the ORU Mavy Center, support some great high school basketball. Thank you for joining us. And once again, from all of us at Oklahoma Sports Scene,
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas.